Let's do it. I hope you're not counting down right now, Jordan, because I can't see you. Now I can. And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Deeper Dive. It is Tuesday, January 30th. I am Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Matt Belman. We're brought to you by Sleeper. We have a 5-game slate ahead of us, and it's kind of a weird one. Big time value across the board in a few spots. The ability to pay up for a Joel Embiid, who we might not know if he's playing until just before tip-off, and that doesn't allow you for a lot of flexibility. It's going to be a fun one. I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. What's going on, man? How are you?
Nothing. Happy to be on here with you. It's been a few days. Who is your NBA team? Do you have one?
Technically, I support the Mavs,
Okay.
but I've never cared about the NBA from a team perspective, other than like I wanted the Bulls to win when I was a kid because of Jordan.
Sure. I'm just thinking it's refreshing having a Cavs conversation, which we just did for a couple minutes before the show, with someone knowledgeable about basketball as opposed to Cavs fans who a lot of times don't know what they're talking about. So yeah, I'm pumped for this show. This slate is, for a 5-gamer, is pretty wild.
I kind of like it. Just when I was breaking down things and looking at some stuff, I was just like, oh, I think I'm going to get here. And then I looked at the ownership. I was like, oh, nobody's there. This should be fun to talk about. It's going to be an interesting one. I want to hit Adam EJ had a question. He said, what's the deal with canceling a platinum all sports membership with no notice, only to raise the price by 10x? So technically speaking, that membership got canceled months ago, but we let them go for the rest of the year, but they were being phased out a very long time ago. It just happened to happen now. We offer a completely different product now that the Sims tool is here in comparison to what we had before we had widespread adoption to the Sims tool. So that is actually a package that died a while ago, but we didn't want to just do it the way that you think that it happened, which was immediate. It wasn't actually immediate. It's been dead for a while. It just so happened to be extra dead now.
Sounds like
which I understand is frustrating. Nothing else I can add to that, but that is what happened.
I was going to say, it sounds like he got lucky that it just got canceled now.
Yeah. Well, like when it first started, we didn't have a package of 5 separate Sims tools that could be included in an all access. So we couldn't offer the same thing. Now that we can, it officially happened. But yeah, that one was dead on the vine for a while now. Yeah, News God's got it in, there you go, August of 2023. That's when we started telling people. So it's been a minute. It's been a minute. You ready to talk some basketball?
Yeah, let's get after it.
We're starting off with a doozy right out of the gate. The Los Angeles Lakers are 6-point dogs in Atlanta. We got a 247 total. The most interesting piece of information here is that Anthony Davis not going to be playing. Seems like LeBron is playing. I trust nothing until this game gets to tip off, but we should have LeBron. That's where it starts to get wild because we have him, and then we just have all of the value. 30% ownership to Austin Reeves, to D'Angelo Russell, to LeBron James, in the 20s for Taurean Prince and Rui Hachimura, and then 74 last run to Christian Wood. Let's just start there. How you feeling about a $3,600 Christian Wood?
He's so cheap. Like,
yeah,
doesn't really matter how I feel about him when he's that cheap. You know, like, is he over-owned? Yeah, but he has the ability to just absolutely break this slate at that price point. So I think there's merits to like fading him, but I don't think you have to look at this slate and you're like, I gotta fade him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's very clearly like a very quick guy you pop into a cash lineup. The point per dollar rates for him today are staggering because of that price tag. I will say this, I am quite low on Christian Wood. Quite low in that I have half the field. I have 36%, which feels like a nice amount. We also have Jackson Hayes at 7% ownership, or 1/10 of Christian Wood. Does Jackson Hayes start this game?
Potentially. For me, if that happens, makes me it makes me just less interested in Wood. I think you can play Hayes because he's also super cheap, but
I have a
he's
lot
not
of
the
Hayes.
he's not the fantasy asset that Wood is, though. So
No.
like I'm not as afraid to get away from Hayes starting than I would be Wood starting, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we've got Hayes is like a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy. Christian Wood is in that like 1 to 1.1 range. We have Wood at 22 minutes. We have Hayes at 21 minutes. Now, the gap in projection is big, and it should be. These guys aren't the same per minute dudes, but very positive leverage on Jackson Hayes, very negative leverage on Christian Wood. I think the relationship between their optimal rates is the interesting comparison point in compared to ownership, because it's 10 to 1 in ownership, but it's like 2.5 to 1 in optimal rates. And that's what makes more sense to me. I'll happily kick a little bit of Christian Wood to the curb if it means I'm just picking up more of Jackson Hayes in this current relationship. Jackson Hayes, flat min 3K. That extra $600 does help.
It helps a lot. And I'm with you. The highest graded leverage play in our tools, I should say. So a lot to like there. He's a center. He can easily, he's not he's not as good as Wood from a per minute standpoint, but he's not awful. And all of a sudden, if he comes into more minutes, I think that playing both of them is in play on this slate. My hesitation would be that part of the reason I'd want to do that is to get to Embiid, and that's a self-defeating prophecy, because if you play both Wood and Hayes, you cannot play Embiid.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little dicey. And like both of these guys can lose minutes to
Sure.
anybody, whether you want to say Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron at the 5 if they wanted to go that direction. Obviously, like Rui can handle that for a couple minutes if need be. They've got a lot of different options to make that work. I'm just going to throw it to you now, since everybody is getting ownership here except for Jared Vanderbilt. What else? What are your priorities coming from the Lakers?
As it stands now, Wood, LeBron, Russell, probably would be more if it weren't for teams like the Knicks, potentially the 76ers. Like, the Knicks look as good to me as the Lakers. They're not quite as cheap, but the Lakers have more guys like that you just mentioned that can fill in outside of like their studs. So whether it be Rui, Taurean Prince, like I don't expect all those guys to do well here. I think a couple of them will probably do well. One or two will bust, and the rest of them are just fine. My favorite three are Russell, LeBron, and Wood. And that, probably put LeBron first. How about you?
Wood at the top, I think, just that $3,600 price tag. There's a reason he's twice as owned as everybody else. So I think I got to go that direction. Honestly, if Jackson Hayes is the starter at flat 3K today, I think he starts to become like my second favorite GPP option.
Well, ownership will be there then, though.
You would think. I mean, my assumption is he's starting. Well, I mean, we shall see. It could be him. It could be Wood. It could be Vandy. We have a lot of different options here. But if I'm saying just like the guys that I'm going to have the most of, it's going to be Christian Wood. I think it's going to be Rui, 3,800 small forward, power forward. That price tag is fantastic. And then I'm kind of like just slightly under the field on LeBron, Russell, and Reeves the same way. I have about 25% of all of them. So I'm having trouble like separating that third guy. Like I just want I want a lot of the Lakers. I have 224% in the aggregate. They are projected for 227% in the aggregate. So I just have a little bit more of Jackson Hayes, a little bit less of Wood, a little bit more of Rui, a little bit less of Reeves and Russell. So I'm getting all of it. That's for sure. I don't really see a way around it. It helps that Atlanta is 28th in defensive rating and second in pace.
Here's my question to you then, twofold. I just lost my train of thought, so go ahead.
Okay. I'm getting the only guy that is not pulling any ownership that's a part of this rotation is Max Christie. He's the flat 3K shooting guard eligible. Don't think he matters all that much. I don't really see where his minutes would come from, but
I agree.
On a day like today, all it takes is one little weird thing to happen. Now he's playing 20 minutes, but I don't think you could really get to him. I don't really think Vanderbilt's going to look all that great. He does have that power forward center eligibility, but him being 4,400 already really changes him up in relationship to Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes being in the mid threes, the low threes.
I agree. The thing about Christie, even if he somehow stumbles into 20 minutes, he'll probably suck from a fantasy perspective anyways.
Yes.
So it came back to me, my question. Sorry about that.
You're good.
If you're making one lineup or in one lineup, how many Lakers would you feel comfortable playing? And then the second part of that, if you were only playing one lineup, would that number change?
I think 4 is just the most likely number in these spots. I would shoot for 3. That's usually like my goal when I do stuff like this, but 4 is where I would want to draw the line. There's enough value out there for the rest of the slate that you don't have to go too crazy here.
I completely agree. That said, they're in a position, in a spot, and priced at a point where if 5 of them are optimal, it's not going to surprise me.
No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, I wouldn't. 5 is certainly buildable today by a long shot, especially if you're working Hayes and Wood into lineups where you start, you've got 4 dudes in the 3Ks in Wood, Hayes, Rui, and Prince. You grab 3 of those guys, LeBron and Russell. You don't need a lot of those 3K guys.
No, you do not.
Oh, craziness for the Lakers today. Absolute craziness. Is there anything we're missing here? Anything else you want to touch on for this Lakers team?
No, I think you said it best, though, when I asked you about how many Lakers do you feel comfortable playing. It's not even about the Lakers. It's about the other spots on the slate. So who you're not playing if you play too many Lakers. And that's got to be a common theme for this entire slate.
I anxiously await LeBron getting ruled out at 7:00.
Right?
I trust nothing.
Same.
Now, the Atlanta side, DeAndre Hunter is available. He's been out for ages. DeJounte Murray is now probable. So we should have a full strength Atlanta team. And this is the part that concerns me. I mean, maybe concern's not the right word, but we have 250% ownership coming into the Lakers right now. We have 24 coming to the Atlanta Hawks, a high of 7% to Trae Young, or 10% optimal to Trae Young. I don't like having so much Lakers and not having the Atlanta Hawks.
I agree, but when you look just at the projections, Murray is 1,200 more or 1,100 more than D'Angelo Russell, projects for less fantasy points. And that's just, you can find numerous guys like that. Trae Young obviously looks the best, but it's not even the salary. It's the position allocation here that makes it really tough because there's so many good guard plays. And I don't know, hard to pay 9,800 for Trae Young when Jalen Brunson projects better than him and he's 500 less. It's just one of those things. Doesn't mean that on a per lineup basis, you can't get to those guys, but it's hard to sit here and say they're priorities when they just don't project well. They're healthy. They're even healthier than they've been in a while. And they're priced appropriately, in my mind, at least.
Yeah, earlier this morning, I had a bunch of Jalen Johnson. That all went away. I'm only getting to just scattered amounts of Trae, Jalen Johnson. I got a Capella share. I've got an Okongwu share. I would really prefer to have a little bit more here. I was kind of hoping DeJounte Murray would get ruled out just so it was a little bit easier to get to Atlanta. But in this spot, I really don't see it. And it kind of bums me out. It takes a very specific game to not have to get all of those Lakers dudes be good, but not get to the Atlanta side.
Well, I think that it's kind of a given that Atlanta is going to be good, because they're in a good spot against the Lakers. No Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
It's just no one stands out from a price tag perspective on DraftKings where they look better than other guys who are cheaper. That said, your point is well taken, and that this game just as a whole has upside. And a guy like DeJounte Murray is not getting any ownership, and he's easily got 50 in him here. Is that enough? Is that enough? I don't know, but he's got it in him.
Yeah, like with DeAndre Hunter back, you're reintegrating him into the rotation. That probably negatively impacts Sadiq Bey. Could negatively impact Jalen Johnson, although I don't think that it should. Certainly negatively impacts like Bogdanovich. I don't like it. I don't like it. I wish that I was getting to more Atlanta, but I don't have more than 4% of anybody. And while they're positively leveraged, every single dude on Atlanta has positive leverage to some degree. Now, like Bogdanovich and Hunter, no one's getting there. We're talking about 5% optimal to 10% optimal dudes. I'm hoping that as this goes on, I just get a little bit more of Atlanta. I just like it balanced on the opposite side of the Lakers. On a 5-gamer, like if this were a 10-gamer, then I wouldn't probably care as much. But on a 5-gamer, I kind of want to just be around. Like if this one stays close, somebody from Atlanta is going to leak out.
I agree with that. Another guy that we didn't even mention that I like our tools like a lot is Okongwu. 7% chance to be optimal, so not high, but only 2.5% ownership. Power forward eligible, and a point you made. I think he's matchup proof in this game. If they go a little bit smaller with Vanderbilt, etc., that's going to hurt Capella in my mind. And if they go bigger, Okongwu is more than capable of that also. So I think Okongwu is sneaky here. The problem is like there's other guys like Precious Achiuwa, who's a little bit more expensive. I like more than Okongwu, but I think they're similar.
Anything else for the Hawks?
Nope.
Alrighty, folks, schedule for the rest of the day. Very simple. NBA Live before lock coming up next. They'll take you all the way up until 7:30. And if you want to watch that NBA Live before lock show, you don't even have to leave this stream. You just stay right here. But the only way to unlock that stream, the only way that will show up for you is to hit the like button on this video. That is the path forward to our content. Also, I want you to use our avatar, stochastic.com/avatar, DraftKings, FanDuel, Owner's Box, Yahoo, wherever you're playing, we want you to use that avatar. If you finish in the top 3 of a contest with 5,000 or more entries, you get 1 month of whichever package you're looking for, not the all sports package. That's a $500 value. But any individual sport, $200 value, you get projections, ownership, lineup generator, contest generator, Sims tool, premium Discord. If you want to come in and see what we've got behind the paywall for the NBA, that's how you can do it. And all you have to do is tweet your result at StochasticHOF on Twitter. Very easy. Show us your lineup. Show us the contest you were in. We want to promote you, and we want to give you a little something for it. So, stochastic.com/avatar. Grab it now. And don't forget to hit that like button. Indiana Pacers. 8-point dogs in Boston, 245 total. Indiana has a Q tag on Tyrese Halliburton, a Q tag on Benedict Mathurin, a Q tag on Jalen Smith, a Q tag on Miles Turner, and TJ McConnell is out. Now, there is no ownership coming into this Pacers team. They face one of the best defenses in the league, one of the slower teams in the league, and we've got like 5 questionable tags. This could look very different at 7:01. If you get Miles Turner out, and we're splitting time between Jalen Smith and Isaiah Jackson, now we've got this weird Isaiah Jackson center option that exists that starts competing with the Lakers dudes. If you lose Benedict Mathurin, maybe that's a big minutes jump to Buddy Hield. Maybe you can start getting to him at 5,200. Do you see anything for Indy that you have your eye on? Is there a place that you want to get to right now? Or do you have anything earmarked for guys being out?
I don't think it's anything more than you just said. Like, as of now, if Turner's in, they look like maybe the worst team on the slate. And it's not a normal worst team on the slate. It's a slate with super teams, teams that look amazing from a DFS perspective, like full teams, like the Knicks and the Lakers that we just talked about.
Yeah.
You can't prioritize Indiana when we just talked about how hard it is to get to Atlanta facing the Lakers on a back-to-back without AD. So, no. If Turner's out, those guys become in play just because they're cheap. And we know both of them are good. Both of them are good DFS producers.
The Knicks just got worse. OG Anunoby out. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of figured that. Our tools had him in. So the Knicks just look even better here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't prioritize Indiana. Even if Turner's out, I don't think you have to prioritize anything here. Those centers just start to look in the Wood and Jackson Hayes range. I'm with you.
Isaiah Jackson starts to become a real problem. He's like, depending on how that all breaks, because if you get them both out, then Isaiah Jackson's a better play than Christian Wood.
I agree with that.
He's going to have to play, 26 minutes or something along those lines. Even as a backup, paying attention to the ownership between those three guys would be huge. Whether we get Turner out or whether we get Jalen Smith out, Isaiah Jackson brings himself into the conversation of being a playable option. No Luka tomorrow, no Kyrie. So it's Jam Dallas day again. That should be a treat.
I will go back on what I said. If they're both out, Isaiah Jackson, I'm with you.
He's the highest owned dude on the slate. Yeah.
Easily. Like even if Wood starts, like there's risk in him because every coach hates him. And he could just not play a ton. Jackson, there's always risk, foul trouble, etc. But he just would look amazing. So I'm with you.
For the rest of this, though, like Halliburton being back really takes a bite out of everybody else. You would need him to be out, which is a conversation in its own right. You would then start looking at, these guys are just all priced in a very unappealing way. I do think if you get Smith and Turner out, you can start to look a little bit at Obi Toppin, depending on how much they want to use either him or Pascal Siakam at the 5. The problem in this scenario is that they're playing Boston, and Boston is going to just bludgeon this team.
Yeah, it's a big problem here. So it's tough to prioritize any Indiana. Could a couple of them be really good? Yeah. We saw it last night with the winning team having no Grizzlies, but they're just not the best plays on paper.
Yeah, this is just one where you want to be watching live before lock. Assuming this news comes in around 7 o'clock, we're just going to have a lot more information. Boston, on the other hand, gets the benefit of an amazing matchup. 26th in defense for the Pacers, 3rd in pace, 25% ownership coming into Jason Tatum. We're still waiting on Kristaps Porzingis, who's questionable. Luke Cornett is doubtful. So this could look even crazier. We can get some value here. But we do have 25% ownership coming into Jason Tatum, which I think is fully warranted. We're in that 5 to 10 range on the other starters. I've got 22% of Jaylen Brown, but I'm also over on Jason Tatum. I really like Boston in this spot against the Pacers.
What's not to like? They could look even better. You mentioned the injuries. All of a sudden, if all the front court guys are out, like Neemias Queta looks like as good of a center play as we've talked about potentially. So
yeah,
this slate.
He certainly adds himself to that mix.
Yeah, he's a little bit more expensive, which hurts his cause. But this slate is already teetering. It's got the opportunity to be real weird.
It really does. It really, really does. Do you like White or Holiday at all right now? Thoughts on Jaylen Brown? I think we're probably on the same page here that $9,200 Jason Tatum is deserving of 25% ownership.
Most definitely. I personally like LeBron slightly more with no AD, but he's more expensive. So I completely understand why the ownership is more or less similar. Our tools like Tatum a little bit more. Have him coming in a tad under-owned, so could always get on board with that. It's a great spot against Indy. Any of their spend-up options look really, really good. The guards, in the context of the slate, just hard to get to because you've got so many other good guard plays, even though won't be shocked at all if either one of those guys has a just really, really good game against a weak Indiana defense or a bad Indiana defense. They're not even weak, they're atrocious. So yeah, you can get to any Boston, but no one right now stands out as like, I need them in my lineup.
There's some aggressively bad takes happening in chat right now. O'Shea Brissett is the guy for Boston today? He's fully unplayable at this moment. If Kristaps Porzingis is playing today, O'Shea Brissett is less than 1% owned.
Yeah,
and I probably will not be playing O'Shea Brissett even if Kristaps Porzingis is out.
Probably not, but with Horford out too, he will get run here. Like on this slate, I won't play him because there's so like if you're playing O'Shea Brissett, who are you playing him over? Like, and I'm just saying this because they're the same position. Josh Hart, you know what I mean? Like
he played 11 minutes yesterday with no Porzingis and no Cornett.
Yeah, so now it would be no Horford today would be the other thing.
I don't necessarily think O'Shea Brissett has just fallen into like 26 minutes because of that.
Same. And again, who knows what they could do? They've got a lot of bodies. I think he benefits most when one of the wings are out.
Yeah, agreed. Like, does he go from, if Porzingis is out, does he go from fully unowned to a guy that you can play like 3 or 4% of? Yeah. Is he a good play? No.
No.
Not at all.
I mean, there's just so many other good, like the other part of this is that there are no Lukas, Giannis's tonight. There is Embiid, but he might not even play. So the 3K price tag doesn't get you as far as it might on like a slate like last night or whatever.
Yeah. Like he's still got to contend with the other four main dudes,
right?
Not getting their shit and him getting like, I just don't see it. Like he's flat 3K. Yeah. Like if you start projecting him, as a 0.85 guy playing alongside these guys in 20 minutes, that's 17 fantasy points. A 3, it's a 5.6x his salary. He becomes a good, like a solid value play. He's going to be like 8 to 10% owned.
I think if you told me you got 17 from him, I would not play him at all. I think you need like 25 plus from all your lineup spots tonight.
We're inundated with value now.
Right. And just because, and I know the price tags are like the difference between 3,800 and 3K is a lot, or 3K to 4K. It's a third of the difference. But on a slate like tonight, it doesn't matter as much because you don't have the spend up options. So like you don't need to cram the ultra value in because you're just foregoing better points plays. So it's just a weird slate in that regard.
It really is. So it's just a weird setup altogether. And like for Boston, obviously, they're. Who do you think starts if Porzingis is out?
I don't know why I'm saying this. Maybe because we saw it that one time. Lamar Stevens.
Yeah. That's what we saw them do that one other time. I mean, I think it's either him or Keita. I don't think there's.
I think it's Keita. The only reason I've said Stevens is because he started that last game. So I don't think has Keita started this year.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so
I think I got that wrong last night with Eric.
So he would be my guess, but who knows? All of a sudden, if he's starting, it makes me like, I will say this about like Tatum. All of a sudden, you've got those guys out. Like bigs smash Indiana. And I know Tatum isn't a big. He'll play bigger tonight with them missing all their big men.
Yeah, of course. And look, it's Indiana. I mean, we're talking about Obi Toppin, Aaron Nesmith,
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, like we're not talking about like real centers. Miles Turner's not that guy.
No.
I'm going to sum up Boston. I would like a bunch of Jason Tatum and I would like a bunch of Jaylen Brown. And I might want a bunch more of some of these other guys from Boston. But don't overreact to O'Shea Brissett because when push comes to shove, he's still O'Shea Brissett.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said it right. Right now, he is completely unplayable. If Porzingis is out, he becomes a low-owned GPP play. And that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Utah Jazz, 4.5-point dogs in New York, 230 total. Single-digit ownership across the board for the guys on the Jazz. We do get Lauri Markkanen into 11.5% optimal. He's the only guy to get to double digits there. I think Jordan Clarkson is the sneakiest guy here for 5% ownership. I only have 12. He's the only guy I have double digits of. This is a terrible spot for Utah. Good defense for the Knicks, 29th in pace. Anybody standing out for you for the Jazz?
No, they're not quite as bad as Indiana, but actually they might end up being worse than Indiana. Really hard to prioritize Utah here. Markkanen looks the best. They're kind of like Atlanta.
Porzingis in.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
They're kind of like Atlanta in that, like, I don't mind pieces of them, but I'd rather get to Atlanta because they're facing the Lakers. Yeah. Utah's been good recently, so they're priced where they should be. They're healthy. They're not in a great spot. Although it is a better spot than the normal Knicks team. Obviously no Anunoby. Julius Randle's out. Hartenstein isn't playing a ton of minutes. So, like, it's not the worst. It's not like the best Knicks team they're getting here on the second half of a back-to-back, but so many other good spots on this slate. Can't prioritize Utah. I do like the Clarkson call. His price has gone down. In close games, he's got massive upside. So he looks like a good differentiator to me.
He's if he's still going to play around 30 minutes, he's the kind of guy you want to grab when he's at his low price points, because there's just going to be days where he goes out there and drops 30 real points, and all of a sudden you need to have him. Like, he's got that skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Now, talking about the Knicks is going to be a little bit different, because during this show, we got the news that OG Anunoby is out. We were already getting 65% ownership to Dante DiVincenzo. Call it 35 to Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Quentin Grimes. Now, the Grimes ownership is about to go up, just like it did yesterday. DiVincenzo will likely go up as well, but it can only go up so far. What do we do here now with the Knicks, who are running back the exact same team that we had yesterday? We saw 23 and a half minutes out of Jericho Sims. We got 33 minutes out of Precious Achiuwa, who started. We got just 16 out of Isaiah Hartenstein, but that game got out of hand. He could have closed. We don't really know how many minutes he's able to play. What are you doing here with the Knicks? Is there a spot you want to start? Do we want to just get like the obvious DiVincenzo play out of the way?
Yeah, they all look amazing. They look even better than the Lakers in my mind. There's more uncertainty with the Lakers. They're cheaper. So like, the points per hour upside is probably higher with the Lakers, but the Knicks here now with, again, Anunoby's out, Julius Randle's out, they're not priced for Randle to be out really because he just got hurt. This slate was already priced out before yesterday. So this team is just completely mispriced. And then you add Anunoby being out. It's a good spot against Utah. I don't know how you avoid DiVincenzo, Brunson, Josh Hart. I love Precious in tournaments. Like, he might be my favorite tournament play on the slate, getting absolutely no ownership. Played a ton last night. He's going to play a lot of center minutes, a lot of power forward minutes here.
Yeah.
I like all of the Knicks. And Grimes, I don't want to say he's unavoidable, but 3,600, he's similar to Christian Wood in my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, Precious price is going up, but now minutes are going to be going up with no OG. Any interest in a $3,800 Jericho Sims?
No.
Turner in, Halliburton in.
Good.
We can't get to Hartenstein at 6,400, right? We can't give him enough minutes to be confident in it. Obviously, he'd be totally fine to get to if this were 3 weeks ago and he was still playing 35 minutes a night.
Would love him then. Like, with Randle out, he hypothetically could be 7K plus right now, but the injury knocked him back and he's not playing full minutes. I guess I just don't see that changing on the second half of a back-to-back. Yeah, I think I don't want to say impossible, but I'd have to be playing a lot of lineups to play Hartenstein right now, although I'd play him over O'Shea Brissett.
McBride?
You could, but man, Tibbs just, even if they're not his 5 main guys, it's still his guys. Whoever he has that night is who he's running out. McBride's just going to play the minutes that Brunson doesn't. So like, Brunson could easily play 42 minutes here in my mind. I'm not projecting him for that, obviously, but like, I think the starters are playing a ton here, assuming this game is competitive.
God, this game is ridiculous now with no OG. So dumb. So dumb. I hate it. You assume we get the same starting lineup as we did yesterday? Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, Precious, Hartenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Man, this one's nuts. It's such a good spot for the Knicks, though. I mean, Utah's defense, not very good. They play at a relatively fast pace. Like, we're getting the goods here.
They're not even priced like I was saying for Randle to be out, let alone Anunoby to be out. So, yeah, the Knicks are unavoidable to me.
All righty. Anything else for New York?
No, I guess I'm liking the slate more and more looking at the ownership. I know the Knicks are getting a lot of love, but so are a lot of other players that like I don't think are nearly as good of plays as the Knicks guys. So I'm just going to play the Knicks and move on. I don't think they're getting enough ownership.
Sleeper is the sponsor of this show. If you want to sign up at Sleeper, you can get up to $500 on your first deposit. Click the link in the description or the one that's in chat. Oh, and great job hitting the like button, by the way. If the 2,500 people that are here want to watch that live before lock show, make sure you keep hitting that like button. For Sleeper, you can 100x payouts. My recommendation, put in as much money as you can so that you can get a big deposit match bonus. Take advantage of any free squares that pop up. That's going to help you keep your costs down playing here. Take a couple shots at some 100x payouts because they have dynamic payouts. That means it's not just even action on either side of the line. You can get a juiced up multiplier to 1.5, 2x. And those are the sorts of things that allow you to put together a card that can get you to a 100x payout. You could also use Odd Shopper if you're looking for more plays through the day. You can shop around to the best spots. Build up your bankroll here. That's the best thing you could do. Take advantage of the free money. Again, up to $500 on your first deposit. That's going to be Sleeper. Link in the description or in chat. The Toronto Raptors, 6.5-point dogs in Chicago, 226 total. For Toronto, RJ Barrett is out. Jakob Poeltl is questionable, and Emmanuel Quickley is doubtful. We have 15%-ish ownership coming into Bruce Brown, Dennis Schroeder, and to Scotty Barnes. Small amount of ownership coming into Gary Trent. What do you like here for Toronto? In a matchup that's fine, although Chicago is quite slow.
I liked Toronto a lot early in the day when, didn't know about the Lakers news. Anunoby was presumed in for the Knicks. Now they're on the outskirts on this slate in my mind. Like, they're more in play than the Utahs of the world because Barrett and Quickley are out, but they're still not like best at their position type plays. I like Schroeder the most. Solid, rock solid play at 5,600. But now you've got Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Kobe White, who we'll get to. So
yeah,
not a priority, but I like Schroeder. I like Bruce Brown. Nice position eligibility, nice price point, but doesn't project the best there, even though he projects good. So I think that Toronto looks like good pivots off of, I said I like New York a lot. Toronto doesn't look quite as good, but they still look good. So like if you told me you like Toronto in tournaments over New York, just as a whole in a vacuum, I wouldn't hate it.
Mathurin out. Keeps coming, man.
I'm just wondering like how much Indiana news would have to come for them to be in play. Like,
I mean, if you get Turner and Smith next, and that's Turner's Smith in. And Mathurin. Oh yeah, Turner's already in. Not going to matter all that much. You're going to be able to give a couple extra minutes to Buddy Hield here. Ben Shepherd's going to pick up a couple extra minutes. I don't think that's going to be as actionable as you wanted to. You're going to be able to give a bump to like Andrew Nembhard, but he's still going to be playing alongside of Halliburton a lot, and that's going to limit him in a big way. He's a completely different dude when he's out there. So I don't think we're really unlocking anything.
Same. I just want to go back to a point a couple games ago that you made, because I've been thinking about this, like Atlanta versus the Lakers. It's just similar to last night. You had Memphis and the Knicks, which just looked amazing. Also, a couple other teams. It was a big slate. Jalen Green was the reason that the winning lineup didn't have any Memphis, because he nutted and you just needed him.
I had one lineup with him and Şengün, but I didn't have the pieces to like keep it going.
I saw that. I was looking late. I saw that it was in like 15th or something. It was making like $1,000 or something like that.
It fell to like 200th by the time like Luka and everything got finished. But
okay, but when I was speaking of, DeJounte Murray's in the same exact spot, getting the same exact ownership as Green on a 5-game slate. So that's intriguing to me.
I like it. I mean, it's pretty easy to beat up the Lakers. That's a worse defense today than it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
For Toronto, I've got like 15% of all of these dudes, Brown, Schroeder, and Barnes. There's just not a lot to like. They don't jump off the page. They're just like guys you need to work in.
Yeah.
Like no more, no less. And like nothing like now, if Jakob Poeltl is out, we've got Thad at 4,600 center only. That doesn't seem all that appealing. You've got Jonte Porter at 4K. Like, can you roll those dice? I guess. I don't know why you would want to. We got enough value out there right now. It becomes hard. Like, I don't think that really frees up anything. You would think with no RJ Barrett and no Quickley, we would have like something amazing, but we don't.
I couldn't imagine playing Thad Young on this slate. Like, that said, he's definitely dropping 30 now.
Let's hope not.
No.
Let's get to the ownership on the Chicago Bulls. Around 30% to Kobe White, around 30% to Vooch, around 20 to DeMar DeRozan, 15 to Dosunmu, around 10 for Alex Caruso. There's one guy that I'm getting here more than everybody else, and that is currently $7,300 point guard Kobe White. I'm well over the field there. I'm neutral on DeRozan. I'm over a little bit on Vooch, neutral to Dosunmu. I don't know what's making this pop, but I kind of like the Bulls today.
I'm scared because I don't have the Bulls, and the tools really like the Bulls here. it's really hard as somebody who plays minimal lineups. I'm playing all those single entry contests tonight.
Yeah.
Like, how do I prioritize the Bulls guys over the Knicks, over I can't even remember now the first team with the Lakers. We just talked about the Raptors. That said, the tools love all three of these guys here, DeRozan, White, and Vooch. So I might need to go back and adjust some things here because the tools really, really like Chicago here. It's a great spot against Toronto. I get it, but at the same time, like, I personally like the other spots more, but again, that's just me. And there's a lot of good plays on this slate. There's no denying that.
Yeah, I just like these guys are just a little bit too cheap. Like 7,300 for the amount of minutes that Kobe White plays. Like we have him in for 40. I don't have that. I have 38 and I'm still getting a ton. DeMar, we have a 38.5. I still only have a 38. I'm neutral to the field. We have Vooch at 34.5. I have 34. I'm 10% more than the field. Like these guys just seem like they're like $300, $400 too cheap across the board. And that's why we're still getting to a Chicago team in a matchup with the lowest game total on the slate. Like their implied total isn't all that great. Toronto's defense is fine. Their pace is fine. It doesn't appear to be a great matchup on the surface. However, the ownership is certainly here.
Yeah, it is.
Well, go Kobe White, I guess. I don't love it, though. I don't love it. Anything else for this one? Because after this game, one, I need you guys to hit the like button, get us up over 500, or this show is just going to shut off. But two, we then have a 2-hour gap between the Toronto Raptors and Chicago Bulls tipping off and the Philadelphia 76ers and the Warriors. So anything else you want to add for this final game before we take a quick break?
No, sir.
Well, that break is this, folks. We talked about a little bit of the all-access package that exists at Stochastic. Now, here's how you get it. You click the link in the description or the one in chat. You can get all of our Sims tools in one package. NBA, NFL, MMA, PGA, and baseball. Now, obviously, some of these aren't happening at the same time, but you get the drill. It's $550. It's a big-time price tag. You want to save $150? Very easy to do. All you have to do is use the Stochastic avatar on DraftKings and FanDuel. And if you do that, you save $150. The all-access package is then $399.95. We hope you want to do that. You get a very sizable savings, and you support us, which is all we're looking for here. But if you want access to literally everything behind the paywall at Stochastic.com, sign up for the all-access Sims package. Use that avatar. Save yourself $150. Like I said, links in chat or the description. Philadelphia 76ers. 4-point underdogs in Golden State. 234 total. No Tyrese Maxey. No Nick Batum. No Robert Covington. No DeAnthony Melton. Marcus Morris questionable. 13% ownership coming into Joel Embiid, 10 to Tobias Harris on our last run. 7 to a $5,400 Patrick Beverley. This team is disgusting to look at. However, I'm currently sitting at 28% ownership to Joel Embiid. I'm getting to the big man today with all this value, but boy, oh boy, is that scary. Got to make sure that guy's in the utility spot so I can turn him into Steph if this one goes wrong.
And at that point, like, you're not happy turning Embiid to Steph. Like, I mean, you can do it, but you're probably drawing dead at that point. This is a really impossible one to talk about because if Embiid's in, he looks great, but it'll be really hard to get there unless you plan for him being in. If he's out, the rest of them look great, but it'll be really hard to plan for that without planning for it. It'll really be hard to play those guys. Like, you can't right now play the Kelly Oubres of the world over Dante DiVincenzo. But if we knew Embiid was out, it would at least be a question. I would still probably like the Knicks guys more, which for me makes it just easy. I'm going to not play much of the Philly game and hope that I don't even know which I hope Embiid play. Probably that Embiid plays and then at halftime, him and Draymond get in a fight and they both get kicked out.
That I definitely don't want to happen. If I continue to have like 30% of Embiid, I'm going to need that dude to play, and I'm not going to want to swap to Paul Reed if it goes wrong. 12K for Embiid is a big time price tag. Do you want anything else from Philly? Like, what do you like? Let's say, for example, right now, Embiid is in. Do you like anything else from Philly other than Harris?
No, I don't. But Harris and Embiid both look great.
Yeah. If we get no Embiid, are you interested in Paul Reed?
I
Because
mean,
at that
yeah.
point, like, do we even have those roster spots left?
You
Like, how much
don't
Paul
have-
Reed could you even get to?
You couldn't, but that's why, like, there is a game theory strategy of like not playing as many Lakers and Knicks and playing for Embiid to be out because they are priced similar to the Knicks. So like the Oubres, the Paul Reeds, those guys start to look good if Embiid is out, but not good at all if Embiid is in. So let me ask you this. I'll flip the question to you. If you were playing one lineup tonight, what would you be doing with Philly and how would you be prioritizing Embiid, the secondary pieces, or none of it?
If I would hope that I'm getting to Embiid, I would make sure that he is in the utility spot. So at the very least, you can turn him into Steph Curry. I would honestly probably be trying to book a second dude from this game just to open up some additional flexibility.
Almost have to.
I would plan accordingly to be able to figure out what my swap is if you lose him. So like build that out with Embiid plus X and then figure out what Steph plus Y becomes is probably the path that I would take. Given the fact that I have 2X the field of Embiid to start, my guess is that in a single entry contest, I would take that shot at Embiid, but you have to plan accordingly.
I feel like if you're dropping down from Curry to Embiid, like I feel like you have to plan out more than that and like play a couple pieces, but one cheaper piece. And if he's out, you're able to swap to more of the mid tier because there are other plays in this game. We'll get to the Golden State side, which look really good. Yeah, it's a really tough one. If there's ever a slate to knock out the last game, this is it.
Yeah, I kind of like it though. Like that dynamic of Embiid just waiting there to drop 85 fantasy points on you and change everything. I like that.
That's fair, but you specifically like this slate because of that. But in essence, this is why you would talk about getting rid of the late games.
Oh yeah, like if this were an 8-game slate, I'd rather get rid of it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, let's say Embiid is out then. Marcus Morris probably picks up a couple extra minutes at 4,400. He becomes something. But like you're going to have so much value already booked. I don't think, other than Tobias Harris, I don't think it's just spitting out a brand new like lock button play.
Same, just because there's so many, like I can't imagine like holding out roster spots to play Marcus Morris. You know what I mean? Like with all the value we have tonight. But all of a sudden, like if Embiid is out, like Patrick Beverley, I mean, didn't even talk about him. He looks really, really good all of a sudden. Talked about Oubre and Harris. And I will say, like, it is a little bit concerning. I didn't watch any of the game. I don't know the game flow or anything. Harris only played 20 minutes last night. I saw they lost by 30 in Portland, so that probably had something to do with it, but not encouraging, which just makes me like a guy like Oubre even more. I don't know what to do with Philly, man. It's really tough.
Then we get to the Golden State side of this one. 29% ownership coming into Jonathan Kuminga, 26 to Draymond Green. So that came down a gigantic amount since this morning, as I expected it to. 10% to Klay Thompson. We have slight negative leverage on Kuminga, slight negative leverage on Draymond, some positive leverage to a couple of these other guys, Steph Curry in particular at 9,100, which is interesting to me. What do you like here for Golden State? Because I look at those 25-ish% owned guys. I'm over the field on one and I'm well under on the other.
I like the idea of getting to Golden State, especially if you're playing Embiid, just because it gives you more flexibility. Draymond looks really good at 62. He's my favorite. Kuminga seems a little bit chasey just on based on what he's done lately. But if you're buying what he's selling, I get it. Like I think on a lot of slates, he'd be more of a priority for me. We've got other guys in his price range who I like slightly more. So he's not the priority to me that he appears to be to the field, but I do like him. Steph Curry, I like the leverage. I can't get to him on this slate. I don't see how you prioritize him over the Tatum's, LeBron's of the world. You can play them both, but a lot of the good value on the slate is the mid-tier. So, yeah, I like Draymond, Kuminga the most, then Curry, then probably Clay.
So the piece that I'm buying for Kuminga is the minutes. 29.5 5 games ago, 29, 29, 30, and then 33 this last time out. I assume 33. I'm just lopping off 10 for the double OT. If he didn't play all of those minutes in double OT, then he just played more in regulation. But at a minimum, 33 minutes. I think the minutes are real now for Kuminga, particularly with Draymond back, oddly enough. And that's the thing that I'm getting. I mean, he's been a 1.12 fantasy point per minute guy. I am under that mark over the past 30 days. Like, I have him projected worse than that, which I'm okay with. I think I'm getting to him just because of that positional flexibility and the fact that the minutes are there. I am lighter on Draymond. I don't ever feel like I get that dude right. That certainly doesn't help. I wouldn't mind having him either. I do have a wealth of center eligibility already booked. So it's really just, can you get him into like that forward spot by the time you get to this? So I don't have enough of him. Wouldn't mind if I was getting to him. We're talking about a fantasy point per minute or more dude now playing starters minutes and 32 minutes a night. I have a couple shares of Clay. I'd like to get a little bit more Steph just for like leverage sake. 11% optimal, 6% ownership. There's something there, but he, like you said before, he just doesn't look as good as Tatum.
No, man, I'm all here for the Draymond Embiid matchup. Like, I think Golden State, assuming Embiid plays, just sticks Draymond on him and just lets him go to work. And Embiid will eat because he's Shaq level dominant, but I'm just excited to watch it.
You and me both. Won't have anything else going on at 10 o'clock to do that. That's the late game sweat for everybody. All right, let's sum this up. Anything else you're waiting on? Anything else you want to touch on? Anything else we're missing? Any thoughts that you didn't get to say?
I think that Philly is going to go under-owned. Whether Embiid plays, he's going to be under-owned. If he's out, the value will certainly go under-owned. Now, the value might still not look as good as the Knicks or Lakers, but it's going to be a lot lower owned. So something to think about.
This is going to be a fun slate. It's gross. It's really, really gross. But there's enough value out there that it's not just like one team gross where you're just jamming in true awfulness, like the end of the Grizzlies bench.
Yeah, like yesterday on an 11-game slate. I hate when slates like that get so concentrated.
Same.
That lineups are so similar on such a big slate. And you're really doing a disservice by not playing those plays. Like, sure, last night it ended up where the winning lineup didn't have those guys, but that's just a complete outlier. And if you play that slate out 1,000 times, 999 of them have a Memphis guy in the winning lineup.
Yeah. Jakob Poeltl out. Well, that's where we're at, folks. NBA Deeper Dive in the books, and it looks like a lot of you are going to be able to see the next show, NBA Live Before Lock, coming up next. To the 533 people that have hit the like button, enjoy the show after this. To the 2,300 people that haven't, you're going to get a black screen if you don't watch it. If you want the rest of our content, you got to hit the like button. Live Before Lock is next. We'll talk to you later.
Yo, it's that time of week again, and what a week it's been. Maybe a little more than a week for the Stochastic avatars all over the leaderboard. If you're trying to get involved, you want to get a free month Stochastic package, any one of your choice, up to $200 value, and get inducted into the Hall of Fame right here every single week. All you got to do, download the Stochastic profile picture at stochastic.com/avatar. Tweet us your wins with the screenshot, maybe a cool message as well at Stochastic Hall of Fame. As long as it's a field of 5,000 or more and you finish top 3, you are in. Let's get it started for the week. And we kick it off with our boy, Eric Lindquist. I'm not reading all that, brother, but I love you. $30,000 taking down, chopping the fadeaway for $30K. Just an absolutely massive day for Eric, and we're very happy for him. He said a lot of nice things, but we only have so much time in the day. Peter Hanley, he's back, baby. $50K for Peter Hanley, taking down another one, saying keep it real. Tommy Stoke, how about this one? Our own Tommy, $113,000 on DraftKings. I'm no DFS pro, but using Stochastic Sims made me feel like one last night. Needless to say, chalk up a new high score, move over PokerStars Sunday warm-up. Here's my 113K lineup and how I basically clicked 3 buttons to create. You love to see that. The Sims are working, and they're working well for every sport. Losing to a girl, shout out to the Sims tool. Also, screw you, Jabari Walker. I know this isn't a huge hit. Just want my free month of Sims. And Jorge's back. $60 in the 6,400. It's been a while, but here we are. 6th, an amazing ROI with $60 entry, thanks to the fantastic tools and content by the boys. Alex M, let's go. Another win, $4,000. Second place in the 3-point stance for Alex. Mike coming in hot with a $300 win. Down to his last $20 before he had to deposit again. Said, your tool saved me. I'm a believer. Best in the industry. Gary Wright, less than a week using the lineup generator and found myself in first place. Shout out to Gary. Chris, $1,750. A very simple man with at Stochastic HOF, but interesting screenshot because first place was Gridiron for $7,500, also rocking the Stochastic avatar. And Sean's back every single week. Monster night on DK. Shout out to the Stochastic crew. Best tools and content in the game. What's that? Almost $6,000 between 2 different contests. And CEO of Stochastic, Tom Kennedy, $50,000, just saying decent. And then different sports, same Sims, $12,600. We just released the MMA Sims too, so that looks good. X Night, what an awesome night. Finally managed to get my first Owner's Box Showdown win. NFL Sims Tool's been a game changer for me in my DFS journey. And Tyson with a $450 win in the end one. That's a tough one to win. Not to mention Slim Lancaster with a $2,000 win there. Second place was also another Stochastic avatar. Rob Stay growing the bankroll with a nice $700+ win here. And then you've got Michael Vassell. Thanks for the inflow. Watch your videos regularly to help build my lineups. Was able to get second in the 30K and won. Don't know if I used the right avatar. That's fine. It works. It says Stochastic. To get the free month, but still very thankful. Keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to all you guys. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. If you haven't been here before, if you have, welcome back. Remember, all you got to do to get involved, get a free $200 subscription to your choosing, is use the avatar at stochastic.com/avatar and tweet your wins to us at Stochastic HOF. We'll see you back here next week.
What is happening, everybody? It is Tuesday. We've got an NBA live before lock for you guys. It's only a 5-game slate, but Eric, that doesn't mean that there's a lack of things to talk about. 5 games, and we've got everybody on the injury report. We've got a big Joel Embiid questionable tag that is looming over the entire slate. So we're going to break down for you guys the best way to play tonight's slate. All we're going to ask for you is to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also take advantage of Sleeper. They are sponsoring our show today. Maybe that might have came across a little bit odd where I said take advantage of Sleeper, but you really should be taking advantage of them because They have a free square tonight, Eric. It is over 0.5 points for Steph Curry. And all you guys have to do to take advantage of that offer is to sign up using the link that we have below. And also, if you sign up at Sleeper with our link, you do get up to a $500 bonus on your first deposit. You don't have to deposit 500, but it's up to 500. If you guys want to deposit 100, they'll match 100, 200, they'll match 200, all the way up to 500. So take advantage of the deposit offer and also take advantage of that free square. Over 0.5 points for Steph Curry tonight. Eric, this is going to be your most difficult prediction of the night. Some would even say the nuke of the night. Will Steph Curry score a single point this evening?
Yes.
With a little more confidence, maybe?
Yes, he will. There you go.
Okay. All right. So, Eric, a little bit on the fence, maybe, but Steph Curry over 0.5 points. So let's go ahead and take advantage of that if you guys have not already signed up at Sleeper. Now, let's start looking at tonight's slate. And the first thing we have to discuss, Eric, how are you planning for Joel Embiid tonight? Because he is questionable to play. He's in the very last game of the entire night, and there's a big gap. Usually, the way that DraftKings and FanDuel have been setting their slates up lately, we haven't seen 10 p.m. Eastern time games on the slate when there's like a 2.5 hour gap between the other games. But since there's only 5 games, they decided to leave it on, which of course means that Tyrese Maxey is out. Joel Embiid is questionable. So if Joel Embiid's in, he clearly has a massive ceiling. But how do you play this on this slate, considering the big gap between his game and the games prior to it?
You're going to play some Joel Embiid. You're also going to play some Philly pieces absent Joel Embiid. I think that's going to be what I'm doing in a lot of lineups here. I'm playing 25 lineups in the main. I'm playing the single entry, and I've built out a couple of scenarios because, one, you do at least have a live lineup. Like, you switch down to Steph Curry, it sucks. You're going to leave a lot of money on the table if he's your only player remaining, which is going to happen a lot with some of the value we have earlier, but at least you're not taking a zero. So you have to remember, like, what are your goals in DFS? Like, if your goals are you need to win today, maybe you don't play Joel Embiid, and maybe you don't play the Philly pieces, but I'm risk averse. Like, you're risk averse. We play aggressively. And I think that what you really want to do is say, all right, Joel Embiid's the highest raw fantasy score of the day here. I'm not going to take a zero, and you can obviously swap from him down to another center. Like, you could get to the Draymond Green, or I guess Paul Reed on the same team there. You're not going to take a zero there. It's just going to suck because you're leaving salary on the table, and you're probably not going to win a tournament. But if Joel Embiid plays, there is such crazy upside to getting the highest raw fantasy scorer here by nearly 10 fantasy points into your lineups. There's also something to be said for getting to Tobias Harris and Paul Reed absent Joel Embiid. So that's going to be something that I'm doing a little bit here as well. Paul Reed's easier because he's 5,700. Jonathan Kuminga, if you're making lineups, you have $100 to get up to him as long as he's in your flex spot. So it really kind of depends on what your goals are in DFS. For me, it's to try to win every single day that I go out and trying to play for first. As such, we know that Joel Embiid, the ownership's come up a little bit. There's negative leverage, but there's also raw fantasy points here in the balance. And so for me, I'm going to be building out some with him there. And then I'm also going to build out some where, well, yeah, it's just going to be getting to the Sixers as if Joel Embiid is out.
I'm going to have to nitpick on one thing.
What?
What do you believe risk adverse means?
Risk averse. So, I mean, this is obviously risky to do it. I'm saying that, like, I'm not risk averse is what I was meaning to say. I'm not sure. Sorry. I meant to, if I said it the other way around, I was trying to just kind of tell you that for me, I'm going to play this risky because obviously Joel Embiid leaving $3,000 on the table sucks by going down to Steph, but I'll do it if I have to.
All right, there we go. Just nitpicking a little bit because you.
Thank you. I'm glad you corrected me because obviously it didn't come out the way that I intended it to. So that's a good correction, and I won't even be mad at you.
All right, there we go. I don't believe you. I'll try to make sure I say some other things that'll make you mad at me later. But yeah, risk adverse means avoiding risk. And that's not what we're doing tonight. We're going to look to play players.
There it is.
From that Warriors 76ers game.
Yes,
and here's a really reasonable way to go about doing it as well. There are players that I already like getting to from the Warriors side of this game. And you mentioned one of them, Jonathan Kuminga, the old cum bucket himself. Draymond Green, he's back in the starting lineup. He has
center eligibility, which is big.
Power forward and center eligibility for Draymond Green. So there are 4 players who I think are worth getting exposure to from the Warriors tonight. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga. You can do a slight little ROI boost to these guys where if you get them in lineups and you go into lock and Joel Embiid is playing, you don't really have any issue that you have these guys in your lineups. But at the same time, too, having these guys in lineups, it's going to make it easier for you guys to make any kind of alterations to those lineups should Joel Embiid get rolled out. But you want to get exposure to that last game. And then one other thing that I want to ask you as well, do you think the ownership on Joel Embiid is going to be artificially suppressed by people afraid of the questionable tag and the fact that he's missed games recently?
Completely depends if we get the news before lock. I think that LeBron James is going to rightfully pull a lot of ownership. He's currently north of 30%. So I think that that's going to exist. I think Jalen Brunson is going to rightfully pull 40% ownership. So like it really comes down to like how much of those two are showing up together. When you're talking about a 40 and a 30% guy, maybe like 10%, 15% of lineups that can overlap in that department. Going to be pretty tough to land on Joel Embiid if you're playing those 2 9K guys right from the get-go. So it's kind of making some decisions there. I think Toronto, Chicago, if you get that news in between the half hour, that could be so advantageous for some late swap scenarios. So for me, I'm looking at guys like Vooch, Kobe White that I'm just getting to more of than the field right now, hoping that the news can break and I still have some swappability there with 2 games. But I definitely want the news to come out after lock. I don't want Joel Embiid to be known one way or the other. And part of that is that, yes, I do think that if it happens after lock, there will not be 25%, 30% Joel Embiid on this slate, which on a slate with like immense value, like he works out optimal more times than not just by getting those raw fantasy points and him having a normal distribution, something within a standard deviation type game.
All right, let's start looking at some of the super chats we have, as well as the questions from you guys in our Discord channel. Also, I think, Jordan, this could be a good show for us to build some lineups in the lineup generator with it only being a 5-game slate. I think we're going to have the time to be able to build out some lineups there. So that's something we'll do in there for you guys as well. But first, couple of shout outs here. Malukar and Chris Williams, each of them gifted out 5 YouTube memberships. So Chris and Malukar, as always, we love all the support we get from you guys. And also, Chris, I have a feeling you might leave us a super chat about the showdown slate for later. I have lineups built out. Don't leave a super chat, though. We're going to talk about it anyway. And I feel bad if you leave us the question just because that Joel Embiid is questionable. It's going to be really hard for me to accurately tell you who the best overall captain plays are. But we'll touch on showdown a little bit because smaller slate. And it's something that I know a lot of you guys are going to be playing with that being an island game. But BD left us a super chat. He said, between these shows and the lineup generator, fire. Pray. Those are two emojis, the prayer emoji, the fire emoji. And then he said, thanks to all. BD, thank you for the support. And then also, we'll build some lineups out in the lineup generator here. And if you guys do want to sign up for the lineup generator, use the link that we have below. It's less than $15 and it gets you access to our Discord channel. So we're going to be answering some questions from Discord, and I'm going to be hanging out in there after the show. Rich is going to be hanging out in there after the show and giving you guys updates on anything that happens to come about with the Joel Embiid situation, how that might impact our lineup. So check out Discord and also check out the lineup generator because it's going to build lineups for you. Nicholas Lynn says, for a single entry high stakes, how many 76ers with Embiid out? Interesting. So I haven't really thought about the slate in those kind of terms, but if Joel Embiid is out, who are the players you would want to get to from the 76ers in a single entry lineup, Eric?
Yeah, so Tobias Harris becomes the first guy. I get that yesterday might make you feel a little uncomfortable, but that third quarter got really wonky. They pulled him in 20 minutes. They basically said, all right, I don't know how we screwed this one up as bad as we did, but we're not going to screw up tomorrow. And if Joel Embiid can play, at least we have Tobias Harris there alongside him, somewhat fresh. And so 20 minutes for him. The next guy would be Kelly Oubre. He has the positionality that you're kind of looking for, shooting guard, small forward. We have a lot of shooting guard, small forwards, though, between Quentin Grimes, Dante DiVincenzo, so it's not as hard, but it just gives you maximum swappability in your lineups by getting to him. And he's somebody who naturally will go out and chuck. He's naturally going to, in a spot like that, he had 20 shot attempts yesterday. He's not going to have 20 shot attempts playing alongside Embiid and Harris. So there's going to be a lot of chances for Kelly Oubre, absent Joel Embiid, to go completely nuts. And then Patrick Beverley, 5,400. Paul Reed, obviously, at 5,700 as well, would be an awesome guy to get to. And he's easier because it's just $100 to come bucket. But I overall would say you'd probably only want 2 Philly guys in a single entry, no matter what, because of how good the value is early.
Yeah, I would actually even say only one, right? I would say Tobias Harris would be the one guy you definitely want in single entry if Joel Embiid is out. At a $5,700 price tag for Paul Reed, he's a good option for single entry. He's not somebody I'd say you have to play in single entry at $5,700 though.
Right. You absolutely don't.
Next question is from Phil Senzig. Phil wants to know, Eric, who puts it in the basket tonight? Lotion play of the night.
Put the lotion in the basket. Put it on your skin. Let's see. Who is the lotion play? How could it not be Jalen Brunson, who has like a 31.5 points prop, 32.5 points prop across the industry today? Yesterday, my God, the hero of the people, the Charlotte Hornets coming back to be able to cover that, ended up hitting a 6x prize picks ticket because Jalen Brunson got over by half a point, had like PRA with, just ridiculous lines that were set for some of the PRAs for the Knicks guys over on sites like Prize Picks and other pick'em sites. So that ended up being a fun deal. But I mean, Jalen Brunson against Utah, that's been number one in pace over their last 10 games, have just been at a breakneck, ludicrous speed, according to Spaceballs. So yeah, Jalen Brunson, he's going to put the lotion on his skin.
All right, Jalen Brunson for Eric. Let me see for myself. I mean, I don't want to go with, man, because I've got guys that I want to use for other skits and bits around here too. So it's always hard to.
Look at what we've become. You get second last week. I tie for first last week. Yesterday I get second in the $44. And you know what? All we care about are the bits, the nuke of the nights and the velvet rope plays of the day and whatever the hell else we have going on in these streets. What a time to be alive. But you know what? We're actually silent assassins.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of players who I think are going overlooked on the slate, particularly because, and I don't even think it's unjustified, but there's so much ownership going to the Knicks where Jalen Brunson is projected for nearly 50% ownership. DiVincenzo and Quentin Grimes each projected for 75% ownership. Then also Christian Wood projected for 68% ownership. As a result, anybody who's a value play who's not some of those guys, kind of going overlooked. So to me, somebody who stands to benefit from the absence of Anthony Davis that isn't nearly as popular, Taurean Prince. Taurean Prince is not the best fantasy producer in the world, but I mean, neither are people like Quentin Grimes, who's 75% owned. And I really do like Grimes for the slate, but I don't know that Grimes should be, let's see, what is the ownership difference between him and Taurean Prince? He's 6x more popular than Taurean Prince. I just don't think he outscores him 6x the amount of times that the ownership is currently. So Taurean Prince is a contrarian play who I like. There are some lower owned value options that I like to differentiate some of my lineups. Taurean Prince is one of them for me, Eric.
I didn't see you going that direction, but you know what? Nothing like a lotion play of a Prince. That's beautiful.
There we go. Next super chat is from Ace of Spade. He wants to know DK Tier's best options, and then he says, thank you, guys. So let's see. Tier 1, pretty easy. That is going to be LeBron James with Anthony Davis out here. AD also is in Tier 1. Easy guy to not consider. It would have been tough if DeJounte Murray was out for the Hawks, but with Murray in, AD out, let's go with LeBron in Tier 1. Do you have Tiers lineups built out? If not, I'll just roll through them.
No, I do not.
All right. Tier 1, LeBron James. Tier 2, Jalen Brunson. It's crazy. We've got Jalen Brunson in the tier with Jason Tatum and Steph Curry, and it's pretty easily Brunson for me. Just goes to show, number one, how good he's been this year, but then number two, also, what his projection is looking like with Julius Randle out. Tier 3, that is Scotty Barnes for me. Tier 4, that is Nikola Vucevic. Tier 5, I'm going with, oh, this is a tough one, actually. I'm going to go with Tobias Harris. He doesn't project the best of all the players in this tier, but the possibility that you could get Tobias Harris without Joel Embiid, and I think that other people are going to be heavier on other players in this tier. Give me Tobias Harris in Tier 5. Tier 6, Draymond Green. That is my preferred option. So as per usual, Ace of Spade, we appreciate the super chat, and I hope that helps you build out your tiers lineups. Avi Schreier. Avi is saying to us that he locked in Patrick Beverley on FanDuel. Is that bad? Is it bad that he gave the lock button to Patrick Beverley, who's only $4,800 on FanDuel? You're giving Eric indigestion.
I'm going to say no. Heartburn, indigestion, diarrhea. A little bit of the Pepto-Bismol thing. Patrick Beverley is a really good play over there. Yeah, you could lock button him. The thing is that there are point guards between Jalen Brunson, Kobe, White. Like, if he had multi-positional eligibility, I'd be more inclined to say yes, lock him, but I would not lock him at point guard only.
Okay. So there we go. Abby, also, I mean, the lineups that I built out on FanDuel, he's my second most rostered player. And then there's also potentially he would look even better if Joel Embiid's out. So normally it would seem insane to lock in Patrick Beverley, but maybe not for this slate on FanDuel. Derek K said, thank you for helping me win $40,000 last night. And Derek, shout out to him. He DM'd me on Twitter last night. He didn't win 40, but crazy, by the way. It wasn't even one lineup. He had two separate lineups in two different contests that each won 20, like two totally different lineups that won $20,000 in two different contests.
That's insane. Those are the best kind of slates. Like yesterday I thought was a really, really hard slate. So I kind of cut down my exposure. I was planning on playing more than I did. But I'm obviously happy with the way that it panned out. I thought it was a hard slate to piece together. And with Memphis just kind of being meh, you were fine with them in single entry, but you weren't fine with them playing like a large field. You got trounced to some extent. So that's kind of cool how on those type of slates, you can have two completely different builds. There were some really good contrarian plays that definitely got there. They were hard to land on in single entry, but love seeing that from you. That is for sure.
Shout out to Derek. Always love when we see people in the YouTube chat or subs or really anybody take down a tournament. And don't forget, if you guys want to get a little leg up on the competition, sign up for a subscription. Use the links that we have below in the description box. Anthony Maselli, favorite play at each position on FanDuel, but it cannot be any Knicks. And then also wants to know favorite LA Laker. Okay, let me pull up my FanDuel lineups here.
Why no Knicks? What do you got against? What do you got against New York?
I think he already knows the Knicks are really good options. He doesn't. So he's probably like, yeah, everybody knows to play the Knicks today. Don't tell me to play the Knicks. He already knows that information.
Jalen Brunson at point guard. Josh. No, I was kidding. I do that.
It would be. You joke now, but I know you're about to read off your favorite players, and you're going to accidentally include a Knicks player. Shut
up. I have a lineup built on FanDuel.com, so I can tell you who I'm playing that aren't the Knicks because I do have 4 of them in that lineup. So whatever.
Point guard, that is going to be Patrick Beverley for me.
Same.
Yourself?
Same. Yeah. So again, that speaks to you as you're building out more lineups. I just wouldn't want to lock him, but yeah, he's the best play at point guard.
Shooting guard. If it can't be a New York Knick, I'm going to go with Kelly Oubre here, who right now, it's not necessarily that Oubre pops at the moment, but it's once again, he's serviceable with the potential to really benefit if Joel Embiid is out. So I'm going to go with Kelly Oubre at shooting guard. Eric, how about yourself?
I'm going to go D'Angelo Russell.
Small forward for me. That is DeMar DeRozan.
It is Scotty Barnes for me.
Power forward, I'm going with Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes for me too. Look at that. I thought we were going to have some discord there, but I think we both think he starts, right?
I don't know that he starts, but based on the ownership gap between him and Christian Wood,
same.
I really like him as a pivot off of Christian Wood, which is somebody who I was considering. We had the lotion play before. It's like, do I want to use the Jackson Hayes now, or do I want to use it for later for our other skits and bits that are upcoming? But Jackson Hayes is somebody who I really, really like for this slate as a leverage option.
He puts the lotion on the skin for sure.
Center for me, I'm going with Draymond Green.
Now I just lost my lineup. Where did it go? Vooch is my center. There you go.
All right. There we go. So, Anthony, thank you very much for the super chat. And then as for favorite LA Lakers player, I'm going to go with Jackson Hayes overall for the slate.
Jackson Hayes is my favorite Laker as well. Yes.
There we go. Next
relative to ownership, but I'm probably going to end up with the most of him. He's 3K on DK, so that'll be fun.
Phil Senzik wants a FanDuel or DK parlay build and says, let's bankrupt the book.
All right. What you know about parlay?
Can you imagine if we hit on a parlay so big that the book went bankrupt?
It'd be incredible. But also, I mean, that's kind of how they are treating us with DFS at times, it seems like. So it's whatever.
Let's do let's check out DraftKings, Jordan. Go to DraftKings. Let's see what we have there. Because there was better value for DK last I looked than for FanDuel. DK NBA. And let's see. I'm going to try to make my screen bigger so I can actually see what's on screen. Nope, didn't help. My old man eyes doing me no favors. Nope. Oh, there we go. Jordan, you're a fucking legend. All right, so we've got this. Let's see. How many legs are in the parlay? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so a 5-leg parlay here on FanDuel. It has an expected win rate of, scroll back up a little bit, Jordan. Expected win rate of only 4%, but when you consider the odds, right? Plus 2,475 here, 21% expected win rate. So you put $100 on this guy, and it's going to return north of $2,500 if it wins. So, Phil,
useful.
Here's what we've got for you. We're going to go one by one, scrolling down here. To start us off, I think we had a Joel Embiid. Yeah, Joel Embiid under 11.5 rebounds. Then we've got Gary Trent Jr. for under 19.5 PRA. Jalen Johnson under 28.5 PRA. Quentin Grimes under 2.5 threes at plus money. Then Jason Tatum under 4.5 assists at plus money. Is this going to win tonight? No, probably not. But in the long run, it is expected to win enough that it is a plus EV parlay here. So, Phil, thank you very much for the super chat. That is going to be the best parlay we could build using the data and tools here in OddsShopper. And if you guys do want to sign up at OddsShopper, sign up using the link below and use the promo code Greg or the promo code Lindy to get yourself 20% off. And use that link that we have below to get you right over to the site. Let's see what we have next. R Gravy says for DK, if risking it for Embiid, all right, so we're going to risk it all for Joel Embiid tonight, Eric. Would you rather have McBride with no swap ability or Korkmaz counsel Joseph to be able to turn Embiid into Curry and Reed? So there is no scenario right now where I'm playing Korkmaz, Ricky counsel the 19th or whatever number he is, and Corey Joseph.
I can't imagine a world where I would click on Korkmaz once on this slate in a million years. He would have to start. And that's like a 1 in a million kind of call from the rafters there. So no, the first one.
Yep, that's what I'm doing as well. Go Joel Embiid with McBride. I'd much rather have McBride in my lineup than Korkmaz, Counsel, Joseph. Even if Embiid is out, I don't think I'm going to be loading up on guys like, Joseph or Ricky Counsel, the 37th.
No.
R Gravy says also for DK, best $5,200 player at utility. And he says he already has LA and New York value. So 5,200, but it can't be a Lakers or Knicks player. 5,200. And it is utility. So it could be any position. 5,200. I'll just remove.
I'm going.
The Knicks and the Lakers. All right. So no Knicks, no Lakers. 5,200. Boy, this is a rough price range.
Gary Trent.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Gary. I'm hardly playing Gary Trent, but
I have zero Gary Trent, but it would be Gary Trent.
Yeah, I'm doing one final build of my lineups right now. Well, I guess if other news comes out, it might not be my last one, but doing one update here on lineups, just updated projections and ownership and all that. And I had of my 150 lineups, 2 of them of Gary Trent right now, but that's more than I have of the other guys in that price range. Jorge Jacomi. Jorge wants to know worst and best chalk and then best under-owned player. All right, so best chalk, I'm going to go with DiVincenzo. He's a fairly unavoidable piece of chalk.
Yeah, yesterday I was floored by his ownership. Without OG Anunoby, to be in a quarter of lineups was, and I know there was a ton of value yesterday too, but like now everybody saw it. And so they basically saw what our projections team basically put together already, which was a ridiculous projection for the guy that cannot really be bypassed on this slate. So yeah, he's definitely good chalk.
Bad chalk. Which way are you going to answer with the bad chalk?
See, I think Quentin Grimes played a lot more than people might have been expecting. 32 minutes, and he just didn't play very well, but he's not a good fantasy point per minute guy, 0.66. Part of me wants to say him. I am under the field on 45% of him, but that's because of what I'm doing with Philly more than it is me saying that he's like bad chalk necessarily. And even though you and I are both playing Hayes, I don't think either of us are going to look at Christian Wood and think that he's bad chalk by any means. Plus, he could end up being the guy who starts. So there is that. But I would say, what are people doing at 5,500 playing 15% Bruce Brown? That's not like chalky relative to this slate, but that's just a little bit weird to me.
Let's see. What do I have for Bruce Brown in my latest run? Yeah, I only have 6% of Bruce Brown, so I don't mind that. I don't mind that as a shout out. Let's see. Who else? Let's see. Who am I most underweight to here? In the same vein, Dennis Schroeder's fairly popular today, and I'm underweight to him. And it's a lot of these guys are not bad options. It's just to me, getting these guys it's going to take, there's an opportunity cost where it's going to lessen your ability to swap to potential guys from the Sixers later on the night if Joel Embiid is out. So the guys like Dennis Schroeder, Bruce Brown, and it's once again, they're very similar sorts of plays here.
Yeah.
If you have them in your lineup, there's no issue with it. I'm just underweight because I'd rather give myself more flexibility for later. So I have 5.3% Dennis Schroeder right now. I've got 6% of Bruce Brown. Guys, I'm going to be underweight too.
There you go.
And then finally, best under-owned player. I'm going Jackson Hayes for best under-owned player. Any answer from you, Eric?
I'm thinking. Part of me wants to say Jordan Nwora.
He did crush last night.
That it's not that. It has to do with just 31 minutes and like Grady Dick and him. I think there's going to be a hot hand approach, and like I still feel like everybody's going to feel far more comfortable with the other value as they should. But like, there's no reason. There's no rules to what Toronto can do with the closing lineup right now. There's just no rules.
Get behind that. I can get behind that. James Magruder says favorite player at each position and then rank our 3 favorite cheapies. So let's start with 3 overall favorite cheap options on the slate. Eric, who are your 3 favorite cheap plays? And this could be relative to ownership, players you're getting the most of, however it is you want to break this down.
Okay. Well, I mean, Dante DiVincenzo's sub 6K, so I mean that's cheap, but I'll go sub 5K just to make it interesting. I think Christian Wood / Jackson Hayes are 1-2. So if you want to get risky, if you think Jackson Hayes starts like I do, then you can play him. That seems to be just kind of like the preferred route for this. He started against San Antonio on the 15th, no Anthony Davis. So that's an interesting one. He's 3K flat. That's useful. So yeah, so Christian Wood 2, and then I'll go with you with Taurean Prince. I really do like that one as well. Atlanta pace up spot. I talked about how his usage just kind of trends up in some of these kind of spots where it's absent one of the guys. What game was that he did better than Rui Hachimura in the starting lineup? Felt pretty good about that one. Although it didn't matter on that slate. He beat him by like 4, but those are the 3 I've got.
All right. Favorite cheap plays. So these are the ones that I'm getting the most exposure to. So I have to add also, so Jackson Hayes, I like relative to his ownership because he's only projected for 5% ownership, but it's not like I get Jackson Hayes in like 90% of lineups or anything like that. So players that I get the most of that are cheap are DiVincenzo, Grimes, and Wood. They're all very popular players. So as far as just ones I get the most of, it is those 3. And then I will add in Jackson Hayes as more of a pivot. He's in 20% of my lineups right now. So that's the way I'm differentiating.
I will say one guy that also relative to ownership, I just really like on this slate. He's sub 5K, so I think it qualifies. Ayo Dosunmu, 4,800. I feel like nobody's going to be playing him today. He's not a great fantasy point per minute guy, but the minutes without Patrick Williams should absolutely be there. And sometimes it's a raffle to figure out which one ends up in the closing lineup as you go through Popcorn Machine or something. I feel pretty good about Ayo and Alex Caruso. He's just at a different price point at 5,700, but I don't feel like I want to be getting there as much, but there's definitely upside. He's only 5.7% on, but Ayo on the other side of that with 4,800 for him. That's a cheap play that I can get behind today too, which I didn't expect coming into today.
Let's see the other part of the question. All right. Favorite players at each position now. So we go through our favorite players at each position for DraftKings now, starting at point guard, Eric. Who's your favorite point guard on the slate?
Jalen Brunson.
That is Brunson for me as well. Shooting guard.
Dante DiVincenzo.
That is DiVincenzo. I'll go DiVincenzo, Grimes at shooting guard, small forward.
Yeah, and then Hart for me. I have less Grimes than you do.
Okay. Power forward. That is, this is actually very close for me. I've got almost the exact same amount of LeBron James and Jonathan Kuminga here. So I'm going to call it a tie between Kuminga and LeBron.
I have a lot more come bucket.
All right. Center. Who's the center you have the most of overall?
Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, it's Christian Wood for me, but I'm even with the field on Christian Wood, and I'm well overweight on Jackson Hayes. So that's certainly a way to interpret that as well. I like Jackson Hayes Christian, if you're playing cash games, go and play Christian Wood for sure. Tournaments, I like Jackson Hayes quite a bit as a pivot. And we've got a few more super chats here, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do the nuke of the night, Eric. But next question here from Jorge Giacomi. Would you walk or be above 80% on a player in 20 lineups? Yes, almost certainly.
Yes.
Great Guardian Canines says, thoughts on Jared Vanderbilt for the Lakers? You know, it's funny. I'm getting to a lot of exposure to a lot of different guys from the Lakers, but Vanderbilt isn't really one of them.
There's a chance Jared Vanderbilt starts as well. We don't have the starting lineup yet, which we are obviously waiting for.
It just came out, actually.
Oh, did it really? As I said that?
Hayes is starting.
Hayes is starting? Okay,
yep.
So I win that. I win that.
So we just got the Lakers starting lineup. Russell, Reeves, Prince, James, Hayes. I have a feeling this is going to make Jackson Hayes really popular now that he's confirmed as the starter.
So this sucks. This sucks because I wanted this to come out so much later because 27 minutes is an eternity in NBA DFS. 5 minutes is still enough time. We've seen some stuff change dramatically in that 10 to 15 minute range. I write about it a lot. I talk about it a lot, but the timing of the news is as important as the news itself. But I think this is a good time to bring Rich in just to kind of talk about what we're looking at here for Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes, because I had Jackson Hayes starting the entire day. I felt pretty confident that that was going to be the same thing that they did back on the 15th, that they were just going to run it back and go to Jackson Hayes, have him start. But how many minutes do you expect for him? And then as you turn it over to Christian Wood, it's not like you had him projected for a ton, 22 and a half. I mean, we're probably not going to go crazy changing something, if anything, there. How does this change for you with the ownership and all of the other factors with Jackson Hayes starting?
So I had a theory that I thought they might go Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood, just splitting all the center minutes, and maybe you get like a few minutes to Rui or Jared Vanderbilt at the 5 when Onyeka Okongwu was in or something. So now I'm kind of still leaning into that because neither Vandy or Rui is starting, so that just gives them those two guys off the bench to potentially spell Hayes at center at times. So I'm going 24 minutes to Hayes, 21 to Wood, and then Rui 24 minutes and Vandy 25 minutes.
How many for Hayes again?
24.
Yeah, so that's a pretty noticeable difference for us there. He goes from a guy that, you know, has 17-point projection. You put him in for 24. That changes his baseline to 19 and a half-ish. I feel okay about that at 3K, just being a piece to rotate in. And there's definitely, he gets the first crack. If he plays well, we've seen that with Jonte Porter at times, like very few times, if we're going to be honest. But there's times where if you get the first crack at it, we saw it with Jericho Sims the other night, where he played an entire first quarter. If you have the first crack, it makes you feel better. If it is tough for me to look at Christian Wood as somebody that I would want to have, the ownership's going to come down. He's at 67%. There's no way that holds, but I don't even know if I would want to play him at like 35, 40% right now.
We'll see what that ends up coming in at. And I mean, one easy way to do this too is I'll run lineups through. So once the projections are updated, which I think they might be soon. Yeah, even before the ownership's updated, we could do a run through the contest generator and see kind of like a sneak peek of what the ownership projections might end up looking like. But this is likely going to make Jackson Hayes way more popular than the previous 5% projected ownership. And Christian Wood is about to get a little bit less popular. Reasonable to assume that?
Very reasonable to assume such things.
All right, so we'll see what ends up happening when the updates end up coming through. But we got that Lakers starting lineup now, and it definitely
I want to
changes.
amend one thing because I knew somebody was going to say this after I said it, and it felt icky. Kick's good. Please fade Wood. Better for me. No, I'm not going to fucking fade Wood. I'm going to have some Wood, but in single entry, I'm not going to play him if he's going to be 35, 40% owned. And, you know, my 25 lineups I'm looking at here, I doubt that I'm going to play him in 15, 20. Like, I'm going to get a share or two for sure. He's going to be in the portfolio. There's too much upside. He's too good of a fantasy point per minute guy, but I wanted to at least amend that in the event that I end up smashing.
Let's see what we've got for other questions here. Alex Kai, and by the way, Great Guardian said thoughts on Jared Vanderbilt. Now that we have the Lakers starting lineup, Vanderbilt is I had Vanderbilt in 2 out of 150 lineups before, probably about where he's going to be when I update everything.
Yep.
Alex Kaiser, DK high stakes single entry, playing Embiid. So my preferred pay up option in single entry tonight is actually LeBron James. There's a couple reasons for that. Obviously, Anthony Davis is out tonight. He is one of the players that I gave a positive ROI boost to in the Sims tool. This is why I did it. So outside of just LeBron looking good as an option as is, in a scenario where Joel Embiid is out and we get all this additional 76ers value, you are going to want to have already had LeBron James in some lineups. Whereas if Embiid is out, like cool extra value opens up, but it doesn't do you a whole lot of good if you haven't already spent up for other spots. So LeBron James is my preferred pay up option in single entry. How about for yourself?
It is Joel Embiid.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say you can't play Joel Embiid in single entry. Yeah. I just slightly prefer LeBron.
I totally understand it. It's a headache. But I think because it's a headache, No.
It has nothing to do with it being a headache.
Oh, okay. Well, I get from the math perspective too.
Yeah, no, it's the reason that I want to do an ROI boost to LeBron is if Joel Embiid is out, I want to have LeBron already in lineups where extra value is going to open up. And then it's like, oh, cool, I've already got LeBron in here. Because if the slate started right now and I should say, if Joel Embiid gets ruled out right now before the slate starts, I'm going to end up getting to a lot more of LeBron James as a consequence of that. So one of the other ways you could kind of pre-plan for Embiid potentially sitting is to give an ROI boost to LeBron. And we had questions about that in Discord as well, and I'm about to answer. Here are the players I gave ROI boost to: LeBron, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Jonathan Kuminga, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Those are the players I gave positive ROI boost to in the Sims tool, for everybody who's wondering.
Good stuff.
Next question here is from Brandon Wagner. Thoughts on playing Hayes and Wood in the same lineup? Certainly viable tonight.
Yep.
They're very, very cheap. Yep. Aiden Queskin, LeBron and Rui, or DeMar and Precious on DK? LeBron and Rui.
Let's go with LeBron Rui.
Shane Daly, Eric, very emotional about people not liking Wood. Do you like Dick or Wood as the last man in? Boy, this is I think
you should love if you love Wood, if you love Dick, good for you.
It's a clever. I gotta say, it's a clever super chat. I don't know what he was thinking.
Waka waka.
It was clever. It was clever. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Shane Daly. And now, let's hit on the nuke of the night here. Jordan, hit the damn animation. Let's see Eric's cock get blown off. As I try to take shots at Shane Daly for being immature.
Yeah. Well done by you.
And there it goes. Eric's a eunuch yet again for the 5th time of the week. Let's go ahead.
I have many little birds.
The animation is played, Eric. We've had all kinds of different tournament plays, different starting lineups and stuff that's changed over the course of the night. Who is the nuke of the night for you tonight?
It's Joel Embiid / Paul Reed. I think getting to both of these pieces are kind of paths I want to take in large field tournaments today. I'm playing Joel Embiid in single entry right now with 2 other pieces. I've got the Kuminga piece. I've got the Harris piece. I'm going to be able to work things around and not have to completely eat all the salary and all the land. But we're talking about a guy who's projected for nearly 10 fantasy points more than the next guy on this slate. And while people always say, oh, I'm going to factor it in, oh, I'm going to do it, not enough people actually follow through because, again, it's a headache and people are very scared of, quote unquote, taking a 0. Now, you're not going to take a 0 today. You're going to have pivots. You could get to Steph Curry in the event that he's in your flex. If you play him at center, that's a different conversation because then if he's your only center, which on a slate with Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes would be a little bit strange to me, then so be it. But I'm definitely going to be overweight to Joel Embiid here. If he plays, the guy has a 39% usage, no Tyrese Maxey out there. It is a nationally televised spot here where Joel Embiid could absolutely go berserk in any one of these spots. We only have him in for 32.5 minutes and have him for 64 fantasy points. So having a Joel Embiid plan in place today, useful. And again, if people say they're going to do it, people want to act like they're going to do it. It's a lot harder to follow through with it because of the uncertainty. Joel Embiid, if he plays nuke of the night, if he doesn't, come bucket to Paul Reed, something I'm going to do a lot.
Same game, same team, but Tobias Harris. And it's just another way to get yourself exposure to this Philadelphia 76ers team. As is, Tobias Harris is a solid option in my book with Tyrese Maxey out. And then if you get the possibility that Joel Embiid sits, you're really going to want Tobias Harris in your lineup. If there is no Joel Embiid tonight, is it fair to say Tobias Harris is the best overall option on the slate, Eric?
Probably at what his ownership will be. He probably will have the most positive leverage at the night, yes.
So with that in mind, Tobias Harris, nuke of the night for me. And yeah, definitely taking some liberties in terms of the potential of Joel Embiid being out. It's not like Tobias Harris is my most rostered player or anything like that right now, but I love the possibilities that he opens up here for us, especially if Joel Embiid is out. So Tobias Harris for me, I do think he's going to go underrepresented. And here we've got Aaron Dyson says, Eric, please explain your sim process tonight, you beast. Well, look at that. That had some sexual undertones to it. Are you doing something similar to me in terms of the players that you're boosting?
Yeah, so I'm going through and I'm boosting Tobias Harris, I'm boosting Joel Embiid, but then there's one other nuanced thing, and I think that this probably doesn't get talked enough about. I love the filter option that we have where I'm able to kind of filter down to the exact players, and I'm kind of going through and seeing some lineups that have high ROIs, and I'm basically just unhearting some others. Again, this is why I'm playing fewer lineups than normal, but I want to get my best 25 lineups that have Joel Embiid. I want to get my best 25 lineups that have other Sixers that are surrounding the board in the event that Joel Embiid gets ruled out. So this is definitely something that I'm taking advantage of, filtering down certain players, having certain players that I'm boosting there from that Sixers game, giving Kuminga more of a boost. I think he'll end up being a pretty popular piece as a result of people trying to do the same stuff we are, but not popular enough because everybody looks at the early games as they should and sees very secure value. I want under-owned value. I think that that's the huge discrepancy. So yeah, I'm going to probably lose more slates than not trying to embrace this risk, but the times that it works out, you're definitely increasing your expected ROI over a long period of time.
The next question that we have here is from Michael Surwa. He wants to know Tatum and Grimes or Brown and Hart. I think that's Brown and Hart for me.
Yeah, Brown and Hart. I don't have a lot of Jaylen Brown. I wish I got to more Jaylen Brown. This feels like a spot where I don't have enough Boston. I feel like I should definitely be getting to more Boston than I currently have. Like, I think Tatum is an awesome tournament play, but he's pulling the ownership. And so Jaylen Brown sitting there like, what, 7-8%? I can't believe that I'm not getting more of him right now, but I think it's just a result of me paying up for Joel Embiid in some lineups and then, punting in other spots with everybody else in the sub 6K range. So more of a casualty of the slate, if you will.
All right, let's see what we have as far as our next question goes. I'm also working on finishing up my lineup.
Same starting lineup for the Knicks. That's important to throw out there. So
Achu and Hartenstein once again together in that front court. We saw them start together last night as well. Start answering some of these questions in Discord. And don't forget, if you guys want access to our Discord channel, just sign up using one of the links that we have below in the description box. The most affordable package we have at Stochastic. It is that lineup generator package for less than $15. In our lineup generator package, you'll see player projections, ownership projections, and then also you just build lineups in it as well. It'll build lineups for you based on our simulations here, build lineups that are projected to be positive EV. Now, questions that we have coming into here. It is Kapanakella wants to know, who's our favorite single entry play? Now that the dust is settled, favorite single entry play of the night, Eric?
Joel Embiid.
I'm going to stick with Tobias Harris. Actually, no, I'm going to go LeBron James. I'm going to go LeBron James.
LeBron James. That's fair too.
Kevin Kashap, who's Boucher in play with all the Toronto injuries. Not for me.
Yeah, not for me either. You know what would be so insane? Again, I'm building a lot of my lineups for this like half-hour segment. If that news somehow drops on Joel Embiid from 4:30 to 5, or if you're in a normal person time zone, 7:30 to 8, I'm going to be so ecstatic. It's going to really suck to just kind of be sitting there in limbo for those 2 hours. I'm assuming that it probably comes out a little bit later, but just want to throw it out there that, I'm higher. Somebody was bringing up Io as well in the chat that I like him. Like him is relative. He's 4,800, but again, just another piece that gives me a little bit more time to be able to react to that news.
And now we've got a question here from TBN Nova. Left us a super chat, and we'll get right back to Discord. He wants to know, who are the top cash plays on DK? Yeah, so cash game, I actually think that's fairly easy for today. You want to go with Jalen Brunson. You want to go with Quentin Grimes. You want to go with Dante DiVincenzo. And then
Josh Hart.
Jackson Hayes now is somebody you want to be playing in cash games. On top of that, I'll say LeBron James in cash, Josh Hart in cash. I think I've built out like 3/4 of the lineup right there.
Yep, you done good. You done good.
Next question, father of 3 wants us to go over tiers. Yeah, I'll bring tiers back up. So for DK tiers, Tier 1 for me, LeBron James. Tier 2, Jalen Brunson. Tier 3, Scotty Barnes. Tier 4, Vooch. Tier 5, Tobias Harris. And Tier 6, Draymond Green. Thank you for the question there, father of three. Cream wants to know, who am I? Just hit on this. Wanted to know who we're boosting, and then wanted to know if we're waiting on Embiid confirmation. Nope, just to reiterate, going to be boosting Embiid, boosting Tobias Harris, boosting LeBron James. I want to be getting more of him in lineups. And then from the Warriors side of the game, because I want to be getting more Warriors to open up more flexibility for late swapping for me, Curry, Kuminga, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. Any updates on who you're boosting, Eric?
Yeah, Kuminga, Green, Steph. I just have a lot of that game more than the field. I think Klay isn't even the absolute worst dunce cap player to get onto. I'm pretty much okay with landing on just about anything that starts in that game. Yeah, that's probably the right way of saying it from the Golden State side.
Super chat from James Magruder. He wants to know Kuminga and Prince or Hart and Hachimura. I'm going to go with Kuminga and Prince.
Kuminga and Prince.
Yeah, just a little bit more of that late game. Mr. Cool Cam, favorite players at each position on FanDuel. Yeah, let's go back over to FanDuel. And for me, we could answer Knicks players for this one again. We can answer Knicks players. So point guard, Jalen Brunson. Shooting guard, Dante DiVincenzo. Small forward, Quentin Grimes. Power forward, Josh Hart. Center, Jackson Hayes for me.
Hang on, I want to throw something out here. I don't know if I ever. Hang on, let me find this, because this is pretty wild. Did you see Twitter from Christian Wood? Christian Wood tweeted out LOL 9 minutes ago when the starting lineup came out.
Ooh.
This is very hard. This is from a Twitter buddy of mine, Aiden. Appreciate you, my guy. Just said,
Aiden Weskin?
Yeah,
he left us a super chat before. I know Aiden.
Yeah, he just dropped this in my DMs, and he said that looks like some interesting drama there. But yeah, probably not great to have Christian Wood before the game tweet out LOL, because something tells me that Darvin Ham will probably hear that. Does Christian Wood DNP? Like, is that something legitimately possible? He's only played like 10, 11, 12 minutes the last 3 games, which is obviously drastically different. But I don't know. Jared Vanderbilt's back. They don't have to play Christian Wood.
So here's the problem. There's very little context to a 3-letter tweet, right? I understand what you're saying. It's certainly possible. It could also be nothing, though. It's very hard to put a lot of weight into.
I'm totally with you, but I'm just at least throwing it out there that if you're like between Hayes or Wood or trying to figure out a path for it, for me, I'll take the guy who's starting. I think everybody is at this point. I mean, everybody's kind of hit eject to Wood to the point of which it's like really uncomfortable. But like, if you get the DNP 30%, I'm already low on him as is. So I don't know, just something to contemplate.
Let's bring in Rich for this. It's a very tricky one. Like I'm not going to confidently say it means nothing. I'm not going to confidently say it means something. It's just information that I don't know what to make of. But Rich, it does appear that there's a possibility here that Christian Wood is potentially a little bit upset with the starting lineup. Is that something you would read into at all?
I mean, it's kind of normal for players who think they are good in any sport to be upset when they're not getting a chance, right? And Jackson Hayes is definitely dog shit. But obviously Christian Wood isn't a coach. He's not seeing like a rotation play out in his head when these lineups are coming out. He just thinks he deserves to be starting. So with all that being said, Jackson Hayes could totally start and only play like 18 minutes, and Christian Wood could still play 25 off the bench. I don't think any coach, no matter who you start or bring off the bench, if you put them in the game and they just catch fire or playing great, you're still just going to bench them and keep them on like a certain minutes that you built in your head kind of rotation. But
don't get me wrong. I don't know if I've ever brought like a narrative based thing into this at all. I just sent it to Jordan Klein in the event.
No, that's not true at all. Remember when the guy's dad got killed?
Oh yeah, no, that was a lock though. That was the mortal lock. And I always use lock ironically for a guy who has leans, likes, and locks. Like lock is basically like, hey, a unit and a half. Like it's my confidence in a play. Dorian Finney-Smith, his dad gets out of the clink, and you're telling me that he's not going to go down and fucking fire 7.5 points 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000? That was a mortal lock. That's different.
I guess what I can say is if you're looking for any little potential reason to get off of some chalk like Christian Wood, you could play that narrative. I mean, it's not like data driven, obviously, but you could also say, I mean, if he's tweeting, like right as that starting lineup comes out, right before the game's about to start, he felt the need to hop on Twitter and tweet
I'm
LOL.
full fading. I'm full fading.
Regardless of if he's going to be a did not play or not, even if he plays, he's clearly like pissed off. So what if he just goes out there and like runs like half speed? What if he chucks up some dumbass shots and Ham's like, you know what? Get the hell off the court.
Yes.
With all that
Now
being
you're
said,
seeing where I'm coming
he'll
from.
probably
Let's
go out
go.
there and go for 10 times. So congratulations, or I'm sorry to everyone that played him or didn't play him.
Yeah.
It's here's the problem is because these narratives could go either way, right? Where it could be, oh my God, look, he's pissed off the coach. He's not going to play now. Or it goes the other way where it's like Christian Wood sees the starting lineup. He gets motivated. Now he plays harder. Here's what I do know. There's going to be a narrative associated with this dumb tweet, and whatever it means is going to come out after the game. Meaning if he played well, people are going to say, hey, look, he played well because of the tweet. If he doesn't play, people are going to say it's because of the tweet.
What if he got told? What if the tweet is because he got told that he's not going to be in the rotation today, or that his role is going to stay identical no matter what, that Jared Vanderbilt's now there, that they don't have to play him at center? There's really no reason that they have to have him out there.
What if the tweet is because he was on the subway and he saw a guy take his pants off and poke a stranger in the eye with his
and
penis?
It dropped at the exact same time the starting lineup did?
I think honestly, I think what happened is that in the offseason, he decided to go to the Lakers because he saw a chance to win a title. He knows that Anthony Davis is pretty fragile and would be missing games. And I think this might be the first game AD's missed all year. And he still doesn't get a chance. And that's probably where he's at. Like, what the hell did I come here for? Then I thought I was going to be the guy when AD was out. I also thought AD would probably miss 10 games by now, but
he got sent to the shadow realm by Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd and Luka Doncic broke Christian Wood, and it's beautiful. So it is what it is. And Christian Wood, I've been an advocate of his on many a slate at times where it's like, oh, we don't have value. It is what it is. We have so much other value that, like, for me, I'm just going to have 0% Christian Wood now. Welcome to my life.
All right. I'm splitting exposure with him and Jackson Hayes at this point.
I have 0% Christian Wood.
All right. Going bold. I could understand that, though.
Bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it works out for him.
All right. Shane Daly is come firing with another zinger. Another zinger from Shane Daly in the super chats. He's saying it's a 2v2. White Wood or brown dick, Eric? It's a 2v2. Which side are you going with? White Wood or brown dick? Option A or option B?
No comment.
Number 2. Okay. All right. There we go. Eric refusing to help out. It's been a while since Eric has shown this side of himself, but once again, refusing to answer the kind people's super chats on the internet. All he wants is help building his lineup, and you're denying him that?
Yep. Sure am.
All right. My lineups are uploaded. Let's go back into Discord and answer as many of these questions as we can before we get to lock. Oh, no, never mind. A couple more super chats that came in.
Take the camera off of me, Jordan Klein. Take it off of me. What are you doing? God, you're the most annoying producer ever sometimes.
Will the Bill. We got to answer these super chats too. Will the Bill. Will Porzingis be on any minutes limit, or is he GPP playable? I don't expect him to be on a minutes limit. I'm also not playing very much of him in GPPs.
God.
I have, 1% of him. Cool. Next question is my filler, Pat Bev or Dennis Schroeder? I prefer Dennis Schroeder to Patrick Beverley if it's just a 1v1 on DraftKings.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go into Discord. Next question here. We'll answer as many of these as we can. M. Grizzly, do we think there's a chance that Embiid plays to log a game but has a minutes limit? No, I don't think that's very realistic. If he plays, I think he plays a normal minutes allotment. I don't think there's a scenario where he plays and only plays like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think it's a 0% chance, but like I'm with you where I would find it very, very unlikely and not something I would be thinking about.
Are logs Wood or Jonte Porter? I prefer Christian Wood to Jonte Porter.
Samesies.
Clyde, if you roster Embiid, how many other pieces are you acquiring from that game? I'm not really thinking of it in those terms exactly. But ideally, any lineup with Embiid has at least one other player from that game.
Correct.
JEW, Vanderbilt was getting a ton of minutes before his ejection. Is he too expensive? It's not necessarily that he's too expensive. It's that there's a lot of good value on this short slate. So there's other players I prefer.
Yes, there you go. That.
Master PJ says pivoting off of Embiid is easy. I mean,
Okay.
it depends what you, if he's the only player you have in your lineup in the last game, there's scenarios where it's easy, other ones where it could be.
I think you're confusing that with your mom.
Whoa, that's very uncalled for, Eric. This is a PG show. Luista 11, Draymond and Wood, or Hayes and D'Lo. I'm going to go Hayes and D'Lo. Kenny Wayne 256. Thoughts on Wood and Hayes in the same lineup? You could certainly do that. Master PJ, what do we do with all the Beverly ownership if Embiid is in? I mean, Beverly, if you're playing on FanDuel particularly, Beverly is a good option regardless. I don't like Beverly as much on DK as I do on FanDuel, though. Champino 26. Thoughts on Hawks in the DK GPP? I don't really have Hawks exposure. Do you, Eric? We got DeJounte Murray, and they kind of became unnecessary.
That would be correct.
Next question here is coming to us from... Where is it? Here we go. Clyde says he can't play Wood. Give me a reasonable non-Lakers path away from him. If you're pivoting off of Christian Wood, the most reasonable non-Lakers player... I mean, does it have to be a non-Lakers? Because I would say Taurean Prince. If Christian Wood doesn't play, Prince stands to gain some extra minutes in smaller lineups.
Correct. And yeah, Vanderbilt's just not a good fantasy point per minute guy unless he gets like 8 stocks, which happens once in a blue moon back in his Timberwolves days.
On Steinem, thoughts on Trae Young tonight? I would like him if DeJounte Murray was out, but he's in. There's a lot of pay-up options I prefer, so not for me. Iron Maiden 2, thoughts on Tatum? He seems to have gotten lost in the fray, playing in the best matchup at a great price. So I prefer LeBron, but Tatum's also a good pay-up option who, if Joel Embiid is out, you're going to wish you had more Tatum earlier. So I think Tatum's certainly somebody to get to in tournaments. And then Rico Rod must plays for a FanDuel single entry in the early games. Must play, I would say Jackson Hayes, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Quentin Grimes. Mostly Knicks and Lakers guys is what you'd be looking at there.
Yeah.
Josh N24, D'Lo or DeMar for FanDuel. I prefer DeMar to Rosen. And then Cream wants to know, do we get to Scotty Barnes at all? Yes, I do have Scotty Barnes exposure.
I do too.
All right. That has brought us to lock. That ended up flying by at the end there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you've not done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Rich and I are going to be hanging out in Discord for the rest of the night. So if you want to sign up for a Stochastic membership and get access to Discord, use one of the links below to sign up. And also, don't forget, sponsored by Sleeper here, free square tonight, over 0.5 points for Steph Curry. So take advantage of that if you guys haven't already, and up to a $500 bonus on your first deposit. Thank you guys very much for watching. Good luck tonight, and we will see you back here tomorrow.